family owns a small vacation cabin in Colorado. My parents are big skiers. That's why they bought it. The place has been in our family forever, though it's old now, nearly 40 years, and falling apart in places. My dad keeps saying he'll tear it down someday. This story happened about 15 years ago when I was 8 and my brother Josh was 11. We were up there during a blizzard, heavy snow, white everywhere. Like every trip, we went outside to play our favorite game, Snowball Wars. Josh built his fort on the empty neighbor's property while I waited for him to blow the whistle to start minutes past. Then 10, still nothing. I decided to go find him. The woods looked scary in the storm, so I took the road instead. When I reached the neighbor's yard, Josh was gone. His fort was there, but he wasn't. And then I heard a woman's voice call out, "Excuse me, are you looking for your brother?" I turned. He was standing at the front door, smiling strangely through the snow. When I looked up, I saw someone staring at me from the upstairs window. Half their face was hidden under a black beanie, the rest pressed against the glass like they didn't want to be seen. My stomach dropped. Then I noticed another set of footprints leading to the front door. Small, uneven, half buried in snow. They had to be Josh's. The woman on the porch smiled at me, but it wasn't a friendly smile. It was cold, off, like something pretending to be human. She waved for me to come inside and said I'd catch a cold if I stayed out. For a second I almost listened, but something deep down screamed no. I froze and yelled, "Josh!" My voice echoed through the snow. No answer. The woman's smile faded, her face tightening in a way that made my chest seize. I looked again at the footprints. They didn't stop at the door. They turned around and went back toward the woods. My heart started pounding. Before I could move, I heard heavy footsteps from inside the house. Slow, dragging, coming down the stairs. I took one step back, then another. The woman shouted something I couldn't understand. That was it. I ran. My boots slipped on the snow, my breath sharp in the freezing air. I didn't look back until I hit the road, and when I did, the window was empty. The face was gone. The woman was gone. Only the open front door swayed in the wind. I followed my old footprints back up the hill, the wind screaming in my ears. Then I heard the sound that nearly made me cry. My dad's whistle, the one he always used to call us home for dinner. I sprinted faster, snow flying behind me. When I reached the driveway, my dad and Josh were already there, both covered in snow. Josh's face was pale. Before I could say anything, he said, "There were people in that house. They told me to come inside." My dad's expression darkened. He grabbed something from the garage and ran toward the neighbor's property. Mom pulled us inside, locked the door, and didn't say a word. We waited, the house silent except for the wind outside. Every sound made me flinch. When Dad came back, his boots were soaked, his face tense. He said the door was locked and no one answered. He'd gone to another neighbor who called the owners. What they said still gives me chills. The owners weren't there that weekend. Nobody was supposed to be in that house. The police came later that night. Josh and I told them everything. The woman, the voice, the footsteps. They searched the house and found the back door unlocked, but nothing else. No footprints, no intruders, nothing. It was like whoever had been there disappeared into thin air. After that, my parents started taking home anything valuable whenever we left. They said it was probably just a break-in, but none of us believed it. Josh and I never went near that property again. Even now I can still see that woman's eerie smile and the shadow in the upstairs window. Every time it snows heavy enough to hide your tracks, I remember that day, and the feeling that something or someone was waiting inside that house for us to come back. Thank God we didn't go inside that house. Even now I still wonder what would have happened if we had. Every winter, when the snow gets heavy and the woods fall silent, I remember that woman's smile and the footsteps that followed. Some houses just feel wrong, even when they look normal. What do you think was in there that night? Let me know in the comments, and keep watching, because the next story is even dark. I've been skiing for as long as I can remember. My parents actually met through competitive skiing, so it's always been a big part of our family. They made sure my siblings and I learned early, practically as soon as we could stand. Fast forward 20 years, and I'm 21 now, a college senior, just trying to make the most of winter break. A few winters ago, my friends and I planned what was supposed to be a normal ski trip to Vermont. Just me, Jaden, Ryland, and Amir. Jaden handled the booking, Ryland drove, and I honestly don't even remember which mountain it was. Maybe Killington. Since it was huge, 7 lifts, endless trails, the kind of place that makes you feel small against the snow-covered peaks. We spent 2 full days skiing, pushing our limits, laughing, drinking, just having fun. It felt perfect at first, but that trip turned into something none of us will ever forget. It was our second day on the mountain and we were unstoppable. After a full day of skiing, we already knew which trails hit that perfect mix of thrill and fear. Today was about pushing limits. The air was thin, sharp, and cold enough to sting, but that just made it better. We were flying down double blacks, racing each other, laughing like idiots while the snow sprayed behind us. Every run felt like a dare. And yeah, I'd be lying if I said the fireball shooters in our pockets did make us feel a little braver. The warmth burned down our throats, made the cold hit harder, and for a few hours, it was perfect. By the time the sun started dipping behind the peaks, we were exhausted. Legs heavy, lungs burning, but none of us wanted to leave. We knew the second we packed up and hit the road, we'd miss this place. The quiet, the adrenaline, the freedom. We stood at the top of the lift, debating one last run, completely unaware that the real danger was about to find us. That's when we saw them, 2 girls skiing toward us, no helmets, hair whipping in the wind. One blonde, one brunette. Both drop-dead gorgeous. I don't say that to sound weird, it's just the truth. They were the kind of beautiful that makes you forget how to talk for a second. They slowed down, smiled, and introduced themselves as Taylor and Devin. Devin did most of the talking, confident, direct. Taylor smiled more quietly, eyes darting between us. They joked that the mountain was full of old people and they were desperate for someone their age to hang out with. We laughed. It actually made sense. 4 college guys, 4 miles from the nearest real town. Why not ski together for a while? Devin complimented our runs, saying we looked fast and fearless. The way she said it felt like a challenge. We stopped near one of the lifts, chatting in the snow. Devin started asking Amir and Rylan technical questions about their skis. Stuff like bindings, flex ratings, brand models. She clearly knew what she was talking about, which impressed them. Amir and Ryland owned their own gear while Jaden and I rented ours, so naturally, she gravitated toward the ones who looked more experienced. Taylor laughed at our fireball bottles and said something like, "Really? That's what you're drinking?" I told her it was our secret to unlocking ski potential. Dumb, I know, but it made them laugh. Then, Devin pulled out her own bottle, unmarked, clear, no label. "Try something stronger," she said with a smirk. Rylan was the first to drink, then Amir. I pretended to take a sip, just to be polite, but didn't swallow. The liquid smelled sharp, chemical, not like any alcohol I knew. Still, everyone seemed fine, so I brushed it off. The girls kept laughing, teasing, asking where we were from. Everything about them felt effortless. Too effortless. That's when Devon leaned in and asked if we'd ever tried a trail called Devil's Forest. None of us had heard of it. She said it was a hidden glade, run trees, narrow paths, untouched powder. Rarely open, locals only. Rylan's eyes lit up. He loved danger. "You guys down?" she asked, eyes glinting behind her goggles. Of course we said yes. What else were we going to do? We followed them toward the far side of the mountain, where the lifts thinned out and the trees grew denser. The snow was untouched, too perfect. Devin told us to unclip our skis because we'd have to hike a bit uphill first. That was weird. Every other trail started from a lift. Still, we followed. Amir and Ryland walked ahead, trying to impress the girls. Jaden and I stayed behind, both uneasy. "You ever notice how they're not drinking?" he whispered. I had, and it didn't sit right, but before I could say anything, Devin turned around, smiling. "You guys coming, or what?" Her voice sounded lighter now, almost sing-songy, echoing through the empty woods. The higher we climbed, the quieter it got. The resort sounds faded completely, until all we could hear was our boots crunching through snow and the faint whistle of wind through the trees. The girls led confidently, like they'd done this 100 times. I remember thinking how strange it was that no other tracks were in the snow. "This place is dead," Jaden muttered. I nodded. Something about the silence made it hard to breathe. Eventually, the trees opened up to a steep, narrow trail that cut straight down the slope between the pines. "Devil's Forest?" Devin said softly, spreading her arms like she was showing us a prize. "You'll love it." She pulled out her bottle again, insisting we celebrate the final run. Amir and Rylan drank instantly, laughing, stumbling a bit. When she offered it to Jaden, he shook his head. "I'm good," he said firmly. For a split second, Devon's smile disappeared. Her eyes went dark, cold. Then she blinked, laughed, and said, "Suit yourself." I pretended to drink again, my heart pounding. Something about her tone told me this wasn't just some weird flirtation anymore. Without warning, Devon shouted, "Let's go!" and pushed off down the slope. Taylor followed. Amir and Ryland went right after them, whooping like idiots. Jaden and I looked at each other, then followed. The trail was rough, narrow, lined with trees. My skis cut deep into the snow as I tried to keep balance. The deeper we went, the darker it got. The trees seemed to close in, swallowing the light. Finally, I saw them. Ahead for silhouettes at the bottom of the slope. I exhaled in relief as I slowed down and stopped beside them. The air felt heavier here, the snow untouched except for our tracks. That's when I noticed there was no lift. No sound. Just forest. "Where's the lift?" I asked. Devon tilted her head. "It's close, don't worry." Her tone was calm, but her eyes darted toward Taylor, who nodded slightly. I tried to shake off the unease, convincing myself I was overreacting. I rubbed my eyes, trying to clear my head. Then I heard it. A dull thump. Ryland was flat on his back in the snow. "Dude!" I shouted, running over. No response. Amir collapsed next, his ski poles falling beside him. I felt my chest tighten. "What the hell is happening?" Jaden yelled. The girls just stood there, frozen, their smiles gone. "They're fine," Devon said softly, but her voice cracked. "They're fine." Jaden took a step closer. "What did you give them?" he demanded. Devon didn't answer. He took another step, and then his knees buckled and he dropped, face first into the snow. My breath caught. I stumbled back, the edges of my vision darkening. The world felt like it was tilting. "What did you do to us?" I screamed. Devon turned to Taylor and said something I'll never forget. "He didn't drink enough." Taylor frowned, grabbed her skis and hissed, "Then leave him." My hands were shaking, my body numb, but I forced myself to stay awake. I watched them drag Ryland's and Amir's skis into the woods, leaving us there. My heart pounded so hard I could barely breathe. After a few minutes I could move again. I got up, dizzy, and stumbled after them, following their tracks. Through the trees I saw a van parked at the edge of a road. Its headlights glowed faintly through the snow. The girls walked toward it, and a group of men stepped out. One of them pointed directly at me. That's when I turned and ran. I didn't look back. My lungs burned, my legs screaming as I pushed through the snow, retracing my path until I found Jaden. He was groggy, half-conscious, but alive. Together we dragged Ryland and Amir as far as we could until we reached the main slope. By the time we got help, the van was gone. So were the girls. The police never found them, no records, no witnesses, nothing. Just 4 guys lucky enough to wake up. Even now, I can't stop thinking about that night. The image of Devon disappearing into the trees, the van's headlights through the snow, it still haunts me. When I reached my friends, they were barely breathing. Waking them up felt like a miracle. We called the cops later, but no one ever found the girls, the men, or the van. It was like they'd vanished into thin air. I don't think it was just a robbery. It felt planned, like we were being hunted. Sometimes, when I see falling snow, I think about how close we came to never making it home. What do you think really happened up there in Devil's Forest? Were they after money? Or something much worse? Tell me in the comments, and keep watching, because the next story will make you question who you can trust when the cold sets in.